Hello, everyone on YouTube and on Zoom and out there in the universe. I am Janine Stanley with her video off. I just realized. There we go. There we go. Hello, everybody. Got my Irish shirt on today. And welcome, everyone, to Afternoon at the Museum. And today it's me solo. Well, Ryan is here too, and Ryan's dog. So she's going to Zoom bomb us with snoring, possibly, but not because today's content is boring by any means. Today we also have Agent Andrea. Hello, Andrea.
Hi.
And Andrea is making her debut as one of our Afternoon at the Museum agents. Yay!
Woot woot.
Yeah, and today we are going to visit. This is our final museum for Black History Month, and it is one that has been recommended by our explorers and also by a number of you guys out there. But a couple of explorers actually have gone to this museum in person because, yes, it is open now. This museum was scheduled to open in 2020, but I believe it has just opened very recently. It is in Nashville, and it is the National Museum of African American Music. And Andrea, we are going to go there. So let's go ahead and we will pull up that website and you can start your screen share.
Okay, so I'm just doing that right now.
And we will check this.
Okay.
Right. We will check this
And I'm
place
hoping that
out.
everybody is able to see my screen.
Hopefully so. So, now, when we're looking at this museum, on the home page, are there any pictures of the outside of the museum?
So on the homepage, there's a single picture of the outside of the museum. Um, there is a sign that says National Museum of African American Music. And above that sign, we have some colored rectangles. We have maroon, orange, yellow, purple, and teal. And then you have some small windows in the background, and you can see white brick on the left-hand side. Looks like concrete on the right-hand side. And that is the only picture that is on the home screen.
I wonder if those colored rectangles mean anything.
I'm
I'd
kind
be
of wondering the same
curious.
thing.
Yeah, because they're in their logo as well, and I'm kind of curious about that. So let's go in here. What looks interesting? Are there, I think I saw some galleries in here that we can start with.
Okay, so let me find the galleries. I'm going to galleries right now. And in galleries, it says the National Museum of African American Music is set to open its doors in fall 2020 in Nashville, Tennessee. The 56,000 square foot facility will be an anchor tenant within the urban development known as Fifth and Broadway, located in the heart of Music City. It is the only museum dedicated to educating, preserving, and celebrating more than 50 music genres and styles that were created, influenced, and or inspired by African Americans, including spirituals, blues, jazz, gospel, R&B, and hip hop, using artifacts, objects, memorabilia, clothing, and state-of-the-art technology. Each of the museum galleries is designed to share a different narrative and a unique perspective on African American music and history. The museum will tell the story of how a distinct group of people use their artistry to impact and change the world. So the first gallery that we have is the Roots Theater Immersive Film Experiences. And I'm just going to click on that to see if we can get
Sure, we'll see if
any
we have
additional.
any
Okay.
of our favorite 360 exhibits.
So it doesn't look like these are any 360 exhibits. They are pictures. There's two pictures that you can click on, and it does bring the picture a little bit bigger.
Ooh,
It
great.
zooms in.
Okay,
So
let's take a look at the pictures.
the first picture is featuring Roots Theater, and you can see that you are standing inside the theater, so you can see the backs of the seats, and you can see the front of the stage. On the front of the stage, there is a picture that says it has the letters Roots spelled out, and then within those letters, because those letters are rather large, there's pictures inside of those letters, and it looks like these are pictures of people, ooh, probably back in the early 1900s. It is black and white. You can see that the people are dressed in plain clothing. There's a few gentlemen that have hats on, and it looks like some of them may be standing out in a field. It does say, "Oh, sinner, why don't you answer? Somebody's knocking at your door." And that was a quote that's on that picture of Roots. So let's go to the second picture.
Okay.
The second picture is just another angle from within that um, theater. This is a little bit higher up, so it's almost a bird's eye view, kind of looking down at an angle. So you're going to be in the back left corner of this theater, kind of looking down. You can see that the theater, it's not as large as a movie theater, but you do have plenty of seating in here. And again, you can see the stage. Now, this time on the stage, we have three different pictures. Front and center is that same Roots picture that we saw before. Then off to the left, you have another photo. It says culture and traditions. And this is almost a profile view of a woman that has her eyes closed, her mouth open, and it looks like she may be singing. Then in the background of that photo, there's a gentleman. I'm not really able to see what exactly he's holding. It may be a broom or something in his hand, and you can see that he's kind of standing off to the side. Again, this is another parallel or a profile picture of him. You can see that he's wearing a white top with a pair, it looks like blue jeans. And then finally, our third picture, which is actually off to the far right, it says spirituals. And this is a close up of a person. It looks like maybe a banjo or a guitar of some sort. So you can see the guitar strings, you can see the person's hand and fingers on the strings. And those are the three photos that are on the stage. And those are the two photos that are within that first gallery. So let me go back and see what the next gallery is.
Yeah. And
The
I'm
next,
betting the acoustics in that theater are pretty amazing.
I was thinking the same thing. It's a nice wide open space. So it'd be fun to go and hear something.
Oh,
So
yeah.
the second gallery is Rivers of Rhythm Pathways, the Evolution of American Music Traditions.
Ooh.
So just clicking on that. Let's see what this gallery is giving us. So again, we have two photos. The first photo is, it looks like a wide hallway that's kind of bending and curving towards the left. Now, the first thing that I notice in here is what looks like tables in the middle of this hallway, but on the very top of the table, there are photos. Now, due to the angle of this picture, I'm not able to see real well what those photos are, but it does look like there are photos. And then as you walk up to the table, there's some words and some little blurbs about the photos. Off to the right, looks like the wall has different layerings of, and I'm not sure exactly what this is. I'm going to call it tile, but it's not tile, but we're going to call it different layerings of tile. So the tiles, for the most part, are going to be white. And then as you get closer to the camera where we're standing, you can see little photos. So I see three photos, starting with the top photo. You can see a lady, and I'm guessing it's a lady. I'm not able to see the top part. I can just see the bottom torso, but it looks like a lady that's in a skirt or maybe some leggings with some dressy shoes, and you can see that she's walking, and this picture is completely black and white. The next photo, which is just below that, again is in black and white, and this is a photo of a lady that is standing up on stage. You can see that she's wearing a very formal dress, and she is singing as well, and you can see her mouth is open as she's singing that, wondering what she's singing. The next photo, which is the third photo on this tile, I believe this is Aretha Franklin. I may be wrong, but I believe it's her. And this one is the only picture that does have color. So you can see her blonde hair. You can see that she's holding a black and silver microphone up to her mouth. She's wearing a black shirt. And on that black shirt, we have some gold, looks like some leaves, gold leaves kind of drooping down on her shirt. And then when you're in this hallway and it's kind of bending towards the left, as you walk along that back wall where the tiling is, you can see further on in that hallway that there's going to be some more tiling that has white and has some pictures on one end. And then you have some more tiling that has some more pictures. And I'm not able to make out what those pictures are. But this looks like a really cool room because the ground is black and you can see that there's black and gray tiling, and I think it's carpet. And then on the top part of the ceiling, It actually looks like something that you would see maybe in a studio where somebody's singing or playing music. It almost looks like a foam ceiling, and I don't think that's the
The
exact
acoustic
texture, but
tiles. Yeah.
yes, you have that on the top of the ceiling. And I'm wondering if that is the same acoustic tiling that's on the side of the walls. However,
I
that
bet
would be
it
in white.
is. I would
So
almost bet so. And I love the curving. It gives that kind of river feel
it
to it.
does. It almost looks like you are in a circular shape, almost like an old record player, like the record, the record, the vinyl
Oh,
records were
yeah.
in a circle. That's what it
Oh,
kind of
wow.
feels like. It kind of feels like you're
Oh,
on the
cool.
record part of that player.
Ooh,
So
nice.
that's really cool. Let's go back and see the second photo. So the second photo, and I'm trying to decide if these are actual people or if they are not. It looks like these are actual people in the same room that we were just in, but this is another angle. So you can see towards the right, there's a doorway that's open, and there aren't any doors, but you can go into another part of the gallery. And above that doorway, it says, "Oh, happy day." Now, in this hallway, in this photo, you have various amounts of people looking at the different pictures that are on the left side of the wall, the right side of the wall, and then you have a couple of people that are actually looking at the different tables that are in the center of this hallway. And in this picture, it looks like there are two tables. They're probably, I would say, about 6 feet apart. They're not right on top of each other, but they're spaced out plenty. And you can see people looking at the different pictures, reading the different things on the top part of those tables. And then again, you can just see a gentleman walking from that doorway on the right, walking into this hallway to kind of look at the pictures and see what fun, exciting things are in this picture. Now, one thing that I do notice, the ceiling in this picture is actually different. So the last picture, the ceiling was black. This picture, you have white acoustic tiles, and the tiles are in sets of three. So you have a set of three, and then probably maybe 3 feet, and then you have another set of three tiles,
Ah.
and then you have 3 feet, and so on. So it keeps going that way as you go further back into the left side of that hallway as it starts curving.
Now, I have to ask because, of course, this all opened up in 2020. Are folks wearing masks and are they social distancing? Because as I hear this, I'm
So
thinking, oh my gosh, I hope probably no masks, but
I was thinking that as I was talking about the tables and they look like they're about 6 feet apart.
yeah.
This must have been pre-COVID because there's not a mask in sight.
Oh, I bet it was. I bet they did this shoot probably because I think they were supposed to open earlier in 2020. So I'm guessing they did all this, back in 2019. And
Right. Yeah. So
poor
one thing that I do
times.
notice too is most people are keeping their distance. And I don't know if that just happened to
Oh,
be because of the
interesting.
angle, but a lot of people are keeping their distance. They are at least 6 feet apart. There are two separate couples in this photo, and I believe that they are together because they are both kind of angled to each other and talking and pointing at the different pictures that they're looking at.
Ah,
So even though there's no masks, it does look like they are social distancing. They just didn't realize they were doing it.
good. Great.
Okay, so I'm just going back to the next gallery.
Okay.
The next gallery is Wade in the Water, the African American Religious Experience, early 1600s to present.
Oh,
So I'm just waiting for that to open up. And it
that
looks
should be
like, ooh,
interesting. And boy,
we have
this has
4 photos in
been,
here rather
wow.
than two.
And this one has been a trip that we've been on since the beginning of our afternoon at the museum journey. So let's check these out.
Awesome. So the first photo says Wade in the Water, the African American Religious Experience, early 1800s to present. Now, this photo, it looks like I am standing in a room that kind of, you have some, and I don't want to call them poster boards because they're much better than poster boards. But for the sake of argument, I'm going to call them poster boards. It looks like you can actually go around these and go to different areas within this room, but I only have the one area. So on the far left, you can see a quote, and I'm trying to see if I can read the full quote. I am not able to read the full quote, but I can read parts of it. It starts off saying, "There's something about the gospel blues that's so deep, the world can't stand it." And I'm not sure who that is. I can't see the full name, but it looks like Rosetta Tharpe. It's a
Ah,
black and white photo of Rosetta. She is standing up on stage again in a beautiful formal dress. And it looks like she does have a guitar, a white guitar that she is playing. And she's kind of looking up towards the top left. So she's not looking straight on. Now, another photo that's on the left hand side, right next to her photo, is one, two, three, four, five gentlemen. There's four on one side of the piano, and then there's the only gentleman that's actually playing on the piano. And it looks like they're actually singing and having a great time. You can see that people have smiles on their faces. Even though this photo is black and white, you can tell that the piano is purple. And then they kind of have an overlay of purple on the photo itself. And you can tell that that's not part of the photo. It's just kind of an overlay, but it gives a nice little distinct color because there is a column just further back on the left in this room that is purple, and it's kind of coinciding with that purple that's in the
Oh,
picture.
nice
So
tie.
that's kind of fun. And then when you're looking, I would say to your 11 o'clock, if you're looking clock face, there's some more pictures. I'm not able to see real well what those are. I can see that they are black and white. You have one large photo, and then you have one, two, three, four smaller photos um, on that wall. And then if you're looking directly head on to your 12 o'clock, the background of that wall looks like faux wood. And you can see different, and I don't know if these are actual pictures or if they're the actual clothing, but you can see a red long sleeve, and it looks like it may be a long sleeve dress that is
Ooh.
in a picture frame. You also have a black blazer jacket. You have a saxophone, and it looks like there may be a picture of a woman's boot. So it looks like a boot that would probably go, and I'm guessing, I'm not sure if it goes up to the knee or just past the knee, maybe thigh high. Now, the cool thing that's kind of neat about this wall is even though the wall has like this faux wood look to it, remember that red shirt that I described? At the
Uh-huh.
very top of this wall, going towards the top of the ceiling, and I'm not sure if this is what this is, but it looks like it is a rectangle, and it's a part of the wall that has red in it. And then we also have another rectangle that's kind of laying long side on the horizon. That rectangle is the same purple color that we saw in the column that was just on the
Ah,
left hand side. So if
okay.
you're starting to look at your 1 o'clock in this room, you can see another wall that is full of photos. You have a large photo top right of a lady that is standing on stage. She has her right hand up to her mouth. It looks like she's holding a microphone. And then her left hand is outreached towards her side and up towards her head. And it looks like she's singing and she is filling that song. Whatever she is singing,
Ooh,
she is
all
just
right.
singing and dancing. We have another photo of, and it looks like this is the backside of somebody that is up on stage that is singing and possibly dancing at the same time. And we have some smaller photos, and because it's a little bit farther off into the distance, it's a little bit harder to see those photos, even zoomed in. But it does look like you have two photos of two people standing up on stage. You have another photo of somebody single standing up on stage. You have somebody else that's holding, and it looks like it may be another type of guitar, maybe I don't know if it's an electric guitar. It's too far away to tell, but it does look like there's an electric guitar that somebody's playing. And then on the bottom part of that wall, it looks like there is something that you can actually read, maybe describing what's going on with the different photos
Ah.
in the time era.
Mhm.
And then when we are looking to the right side of this photo, there's a single wall, and this wall is painted teal in color. And then you have a black and white photo on this photo or on this wall. The photo looks like it may be a store, and the store says Martin Morris on Music Studio. And it looks like it's the front, if you're standing outside looking at the front of the store. There's a black and white photo, and I believe this may be Martin, but again, it's a smaller
Uh-huh.
photo. And then as you get closer to the photo, you could see that there's something that you can read. Right now, I'm not able to read it just because the text is so small, but you can go to the right in this room, you can also go to the left. And I'm sure that there's more because of the way that it's designed. You can actually walk around those photos, and there's going to be more photos on the other side
Oh,
with
wow.
pictures and different things that you can see. So this is really cool too. On the ceiling, I do notice that their lamps are not, or their lamps, their lights are not a typical light that you would see because this is a music studio. The lights themselves are either in rectangles or squares, and they are white as well. So those are kind of playing off of the white squares. I'm not sure if these are benches or tables that you could see in the center of this room.
Mm,
And then in the
love
center
how
of
all
this
this
room,
is really tying together. And those colors that we saw on the outside, did you notice? We've got the teal, we had the red and purple.
yep, yep. And we have one last little rectangle in the center of the room. And this has photos of different people. You can tell that they are black and white. There's two photos of two individual people. It looks like there's a photo of possibly maybe a letter, maybe something that's handwritten. And then the last photo on the right, I'm trying to tell, it looks like you may be standing inside a church. So you're standing up looking at people in the church. And again, this is black and white, but the background is that same purple that we saw earlier.
Oh,
So that was the first photo. The second photo is kind of cool because you're looking at a wall, but the wall is not a typical straight wall that you would see. It's curved in a horseshoe shape and it's curved towards us. And
oh,
on this wall, again, we have that faux wood, but this faux wood is black and white. And then on the faux wood, we have four different pictures starting from the left. You can see that it says aliveness, and there's a picture of a gentleman in suit and tie standing in front of a microphone that's on a stand. And you can tell that he is singing. He has his left hand down to the side, and his right hand is kind of outstretched up in front of him, and probably about shoulder to head height. And he has his fingers together, and you could see flowers and people. Oh, no, those are not flowers. Those are people.
oh,
They are
wow.
flowers, though, because they are people off in the distance, and you can see them. And it is, again, a black and white photo. So going to the second
Nice.
photo, we have black and white photo, and this is going to be the outside of, I'm not sure if it's a house or maybe a store, but it's kind of neat because even though it's black and white, you can see the shape of the windows rather than doors.
Oh,
And these windows are in the shape of like the windows that you would see like at an old school church. It has that almost like that steeple shape to it. It's
ah,
really, really cool.
okay.
And there's
Yep, I
two
was
of
thinking, I
them.
know there's a name for that, and I can't think of what it is. They're
I
sort of
know, and I'm thinking
pointed.
of it too, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about,
Yep.
right?
Yep. They're kind of pointed at the
Yes,
top,
yes. And then
and
kind of
yep,
squared up at the bottom.
yep.
And so the first window is a little more narrow, but it's tall. The second photo, it's a little bit shorter and a little more wide.
Yep.
And then you can see a black and white photo of a gentleman. You can tell that he's wearing a hat, but I don't see a face. So this may be the backside of him. And finally, the third photo. This is another black and white photo. This is head on of a gentleman that's wearing a suit and tie and looks like he's wearing a little black bow tie. He does have his left hand to his side. He has his right hand up to his chest. And I want to say it looks like he's actually holding a Bible in that hand.
Ah,
Really cool. And he has
okay.
a pretty serious face. He's looking straight on at us. Finally, the last photo on this wall is black and white. And it looks like you are looking at the corner of an outside of either a church or a storefront. So you can see the front side and you can see the side of the church or store. Now, this is going to be a black and white photo, and you could see that it looks like it is painted white, and you can see some windows. It looks like there's a door off to the left. And then in the center of this room, you have a bunch of people, and this is definitely pre-COVID because they are standing way too close and there were no
Ah.
masks. But everybody is standing and they're looking at the photos that are on this wall that is shaped in the horseshoe shape. So you can see people reading and watching what's going on. So I'm not sure if this if they changed the display or if it's just a static photo, but you could see people kind of looking at the photos and reading and seeing what's going on. And this, let's see, off to the right, you can see that there's another part of the room. So this is not part of the room where you have the wall with that horse-shaped shoe that's kind of going in towards us. This back photo or this back wall is completely straight. And I can see some photos. I'm not able to see all of them just because we have some people in the photo right there blocking it. But one of the photos that it's actually at the top is a black and white photo. And it looks like this is all men. And I'm trying to count 8 people, 9 people. The more I look,
Wow.
the more heads I'm counting. It looks like
That
there's
is a
9 people,
choir right there.
right? And they're surrounding a piano. And there's not anybody actually sitting at the piano playing. The piano keys are facing us, and you have everybody around the piano and they're facing us. And like I said, the photo's a little too far for me to see, but from what I can tell, it looks like everybody's pretty serious in this photo.
Ooh.
And then you have some additional photos um, that are just a little too small to see, but this looks really interesting. I
Mm.
want to see this in person. All
Yeah,
right,
I
so I'm
was
going
gonna
to
say
this.
I cannot imagine. We'll have to look and see once we get through the galleries here and see if we have any specifics, specific articles or anything.
Right. So I'm going to the third photo. This third photo is kind of going along with the same theme color of the purple and the teal. So the way that I'm looking at this photo or where we're standing in this room, you can see a big square table that's made out of wood. And on this table, you could see that there are pictures and looks like there's words probably describing what's going on with the different photos. Now, the photos or the titles on these photos on this table are actually in that purple square color that we've been seeing throughout
Oh.
the museum.
Mhm.
Now, on the back wall, we have, and it almost looks like if you can imagine a greater sign, greater than sign,
Oh
or less
yeah.
than sign. So we're
Mhm.
looking at the left than sign, and that's kind of the shape of the wall.
Oh.
On one side of the wall, you can see it's like that teal color. It looks like there may be, I want to say that's a mirror. You can stand in front of that. I'm not sure what exactly is going on
Oh.
with that because we do have 2 people standing kind of blocking the view from that mirror. But the other side of that wall, we have tons of black and white photos. And these are really cool because the photos are varying from people standing outside a church to people that are, there's a gentleman that looks like he's holding a Bible and he's looking down and reading that Bible. There's another photo of some cars that are outside a building. And I believe that building says Apostolic Faith.
Oh.
I believe
Interesting.
that's what it says. Yeah. So that's black and white. The cars are black, the building is white. You have some smaller photos of people within the church. It looks like they're actually sitting down. So it looks like people are actually sitting down at the church. Somebody stood up and took a photo of as many people as they can get sitting in the
Uh-huh.
benches or the pews. That photo is black and white, but it's really cool to look at because you could see the different style of clothing that everybody's wearing.
Oh.
And I'm not
Oh.
close enough in the picture to see, but I would love to go there just to see how this
I
style
was
of
gonna. I would
clothing and
love to see the hats because
yes, the
that's
hats,
a
the
thing
clothing, the
at
hair,
church.
everything, how it's
Yes.
changed. You have another photo. And again, this is a photo of people. It looks like they're actually standing up. They may be in the church. I'm not sure exactly where they're standing. But another thing would be cool to zoom into this picture a little bit more just to kind of see the head wraps that they're wearing, the clothing
Mhm.
that they're wearing, see what's going on in the background.
Mhm.
As you get closer to shoulder height, because this is a pretty tall wall, as you get closer to shoulder height, you have that purple square. And within that purple square, I'm sorry, not square, it's a rectangle. I should know my shapes by now, but it is a rectangle. And you have smaller photos. And it looks like within those photos, just to the right and to the left of those photos, is explaining or describing what's going on within those photos as well. And you can see people looking at the wall, looking at the different photos, reading what's going on. In the center of this room, kind of behind that square table that we saw earlier. There's some benches, and you have a lady sitting down. It looks like they may have two sets of benches, so you can sit down and kind of read from afar if you wanted to.
Oh.
Looking towards the right, um, we have some more photos, and these walls are really tall. I'm going to take a guess and say not the ceiling, just the walls with the pictures on them. These walls are easily 12 feet, and then the ceiling
Wow.
is even higher.
Wow.
That's easily, ooh, I would say probably closer to 20 feet. Those ceilings go pretty high. So these walls
Wow.
are high. We have tons of photos. Um, in the back right corner, you can see that there's a bunch of tiles of photos. Some are in black and white. You have three of them that are in color. They're a little too far for me to see what's going on. But as you get closer to shoulder height, you can see that you have that teal square or teal
Oh.
rectangle with some more photos, and then you can read about what's going on with those photos. So this
Interesting.
is just a room full of photos, full of lots of text so you can read and see what's going on. I wish that I could zoom in on these photos and actually read, give you an example of what's
Yeah.
going on with some of these, because it looks like there's just so much information in here. You
Cool.
have the lights that they have in here again are not typical lights that you would see anywhere else. These lights are the same lights that we saw in that second picture where they're kind of dangling from the ceiling and they're in a rectangle shape and they're just white. It looks hollow, but I think that's the actual light itself.
Oh, how
So you
interesting.
have, looks like three of these in this room.
Hmm.
And then you have a couple that's walking in from the right into the room. And then right behind them is another wall with some large black and white photos. And one of the photo, you could tell that it has kind of that purple film that's kind of laying over it. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
able to tell real well what these photos are, but it does look like they are photos of different people through the times.
Ah,
So
okay.
I'm finally going to the last photo in this gallery. So this last photo, we are looking head on into this room. On the right side of the room, again, we have that tall wall that is full of photos. We have a black and white photo of a gentleman that is sitting at a piano. Then we have another black and white photo, and it looks like it's a lady standing on stage, but the way that she's standing, you can see her. So she's standing probably diagonal on stage because you could see her and you could see some people in the audience behind her.
Ah, okay.
Really, really cool.
Gotcha. Nice shot.
Finally, yeah, finally, the last photo on this wall is a photo of, and I think this may be a photo that we saw earlier in the museum. So it's the five gentlemen around the piano. One's
Oh.
playing the piano.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And yeah, actually, I think this is just a different angle of that
Ah,
room that we
okay.
saw because now I can see the full quote that says, "There's something about the gospel music that's so deep the world can't stand it. Sister Rosetta Thorpe." I was able to
Ah,
see that full quote. So this is just another kind of a further back view than what we saw earlier, and you're able to see that full room. We have, I want to call them half walls. So they go up probably, I would say about 9 to 12 feet. They do have photos on them. This particular one has, it's colored in teal. You could see a photo and you can see text. So I think as you get closer to these half walls, you can see the pictures. You can also read them. And then I believe if you go around that wall, you're going to have more photos and
ah,
more text to read what's going on with that room. But this is really neat. Everywhere you look, there are photos, big photos, large photos, text telling you what's going on. You have tables in the center of the room. This table is purple. You have black and white photos and some more text. I'm not able to read the text, it's a little too far away, but you have tons of stuff to read, tons of stuff to
wow.
look at. Let me go back. And
The,
it looks like that was everything in the gallery. Let me hit that
wow.
back button
And
one more
these are
time
the
and see.
fun places to go with people who maybe have relatives that were involved in things like this, and you see like a
Yes.
family member there, and
Oh my gosh, how funny
I
would that
love
be?
that. I have been
Yeah,
to
that would be
museums where that's
amazing.
happened, and it's so much, and you just want to go, oh, tell us about, tell us about your family, and
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
So I went back. We have another gallery. The next gallery is going to be the Crossroads, the Great Migration and the Emergence of Blues, early 1900s.
Ah.
Okay, so let's go into this gallery and see what's in here.
Mhm.
Still waiting on the website.
And this is when everybody, after emancipation and after Reconstruction, everybody came up north, or a
Right.
lot of people came up north. Chicago, New York, Cleveland, all across the
Pennsylvania. Oh,
U.S.,
yeah, everywhere.
Pennsylvania, everywhere.
Okay, so we have Crossroads, and it starts off with how blues changed the music world. The Crossroads Gallery chronicles the history and influence of the blues, whose humble origins are rooted in the work songs and field hollers sung by sharecroppers and lumber mill workers throughout the post slavery period in the Deep South and the Mississippi Delta in the 19th century. As African Americans migrated from the rural South to the urban cities in the North, they took the blues and other musical and cultural traditions with them. Music visitors will encounter female blues singers who recorded race records in the 1920s, and the influence of the blues on white country music and the rock and roll sound of the 1950s.
Oh,
The
yeah.
narrative ends with a further look into contemporary blues and its modern masters, many of whom were part of the Great Migration. And so we have four photos in here. Clicking on the first one, we have Crossroads, the Great Migration and the influence of the blues, early 1900s. Now, in this room, this is different than the rooms that we saw before. We kind of had those fun, funky colors that were going on with the lights.
Mm-hmm.
This one is going to be pretty straightforward. So we have, it looks like plywood on the bottom part of the wall. There's another part of the wall that has, the tin roofs that you would see maybe on an old barn out in the
Oh,
country.
yeah.
So you have
Mm-hmm.
that on the wall.
Kind of
Above,
corrugated. Yeah.
yeah, above the plywood, one photo that's black and white has a quote, and that quote says, "I'll tell you where the blues began. Back there working on the cotton farms, working hard, and the man won't pay him, so the people started singing." That's a quote by Sonny Terry. And there's a picture of him. It's a close up. You can see that he's wearing glasses or sunglasses, and he has a harmonica up to his mouth.
Oh,
And so you can see that he's playing that harmonica.
excellent. Oh.
Now, the wall that has that metal roofing on the wall, we have another photo, and there's actually two photos here. There's one photo of a lady that's wearing a completely black dress. And you can see that she must have been singing because she kind of has her head thrown back and she has her right arm lifted up in the air to her side. And then she has her left arm kind of, it looks like they caught her in the middle of trying to grasp her chest, or maybe she was just getting
Ah.
done grasping her chest. But you could definitely tell that there's some emotion in this photo.
Ooh.
The other photo that's on this wall is another black and white photo, and this is of a gentleman, and you can see that he's smiling. So not only do you see the smile in his mouth with his lips kind of curved up, but you can also see like this genuine happiness in his eyes. When somebody smiles, you can see when they're smiling with their eyes because their eyes kind of
Ah.
turn up too.
Yep.
And you can see that in his eyes. He's looking off to the, it would be our left, but it's his right. So he's looking off towards his right. And he's not showing any teeth, but you could tell that he's smiling. He's kind of, he looks like maybe he's off in thought and he's thought of something really happy.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that he's wearing a very thin bow tie that he's tied himself. And you have the little oh, what are they called? Like the bottom part of the
Oh,
legs of the bow. They're
oh,
really,
the
really thin.
bolos. Yeah.
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 And another wall that we see in this photo, we have pictures of some banjos, and there's some text next to that. I'm sure the text is probably describing what it was used for or maybe who used it. We have some black and white photos of people, and it looks like they're actually standing out near the train tracks. So maybe they were working on the train tracks.
Hmm.
But you can see that they are in black and white. Some people are wearing hats, some are not. You have some tall people. It looks like maybe there's some shorter people in there. I don't think they're children, but it's possible they may be children. I'm not sure. Um, we have another photo. Now, this is not a photo that somebody took. This is a photo that somebody may have drawn or painted. This is a color photo, and you can see somebody sitting up, and I'm not sure what it is. I'm going to call it a concrete bench brick area. He's sitting up there, and you could see that he's playing the banjo. There's other people off in the cotton fields, and you could see that maybe some of them are singing as he's playing. So maybe they're singing. He's he's playing, and everybody's kind of picking cotton as they're working the fields, working the day. On the far right hand side of this photo is that far right wall, and that wall is full of different black and white photos. Some are large, some are small. Majority of the photos that I can see are different people sitting down playing different instruments. So it looks like there's one person, the photo towards the top, there's a person playing the violin. They're sitting down playing that. And I'm really trying to stretch to see what the other photos are. It's a little hard to tell just because of the angle of the wall and the photo. But I think there's more people outside, and it doesn't look like they're in a field, but it does look like they're outside. Women are in long white dresses. So maybe they're on their way to maybe a formal, maybe church, like Sunday church. But on the wall, you can also see that there's some more text, maybe describing or explaining what's going on with the photos or a significant milestone that they're maybe talking about. So I'm going to the second photo. And the second photo is staying within that same theme. So you still have some plywood, you have some metal roofing on the walls. The floor doesn't have any carpet. This floor is wood that looks like it was maybe painted teal, and that paint has faded and chipped through the years. So it gives it a real textural feel to this.
Yeah.
Now, instead of having tables in this room, they are going to have it almost looks like a table that's kind of built into the wall with two pieces of wood kind of holding it up at an angle. And that table is at a slant. And on this particular table, it looks like there are different buttons, like touch screen buttons that you could increase or decrease. And maybe that may be different types of music that they're playing. That's what it looks like.
I bet so. Or,
So
narratives or whatever. Oh, that would
yeah, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 different knobs or dials that you could mess with, and each knob is a different color. So you have brown, you have red,
Oh, how fun.
purple, green, maroon,
I'm
yellow,
betting you
blue.
can compose your own blues here.
It'd be kind of cool if you
Oh,
could, if
that
that was different
that would
instruments
be
and you can choose the different instruments to play together and make your own music,
oh my gosh, that would be
because I
awesome.
can't play.
We have seen that actually. They had that in the American Jazz Museum as well. So,
Oh,
yeah,
fun.
that would be very cool here. And I love this look to kind of go with the blues and
Yes, very
country
much
because it's
so.
so austere.
It
And
really
yet,
is.
the music is what is important, even though everything else is pretty austere and pretty, you know, worn and whatnot. So yeah, I really get the feel for this kind of. They've done a great job with
They really have. Now,
the
another thing that's really
interior.
neat about this room is the lights in here. We don't have those stylish square and rectangle lights hanging from the ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
These are going to be just typical lights that you would see, like somebody would have strung up in their backyard, maybe around like the patio,
Mm-hmm.
just circular in shape. And it looks like they're all strung up on the same line.
Oh,
And so you can see that's the light in the room that's
mm-hmm.
strung up from the ceiling.
Oh wow. And so again, that keeps with that kind of austere kind of
Yes.
theme. Oh, I love that.
Yes. And this room has different layers. So as I was saying, you have some walls that have like that wood and the metal. And then further behind that wall, you could see more wall that has wood for the wall, but and it looks like old barn wood, so it's kind of aged,
Oh
but you have a
yeah.
photo on that wood, and the photo itself is black and white. So the one photo that I
Oh.
see It's a little hard to see, but it looks like maybe they were standing out on a field next to some kind of farm equipment, some kind of tractor. You can see that they're standing next to that. We have some more photos of, and these are, now that I think about it, and I'm noticing all the photos in this room, at least in this picture, are all black and white. We don't have any
That
colored photos.
that doesn't surprise me.
So you have black and white photos of people up on stage singing, playing instruments. You have just single photos of different people in the background. Um, and I believe these are going to be just different singers or musicians from that time. I could see on one wall, the wall itself is brick. And you can see that in black lettering, it says chess, and they have a couple of chess pieces
Ah,
on the
yes.
wall.
Yes, for the famous chess records in Chicago. I
Yeah.
believe it was it Chicago or St. Louis now? I'm trying to remember. I think it was Chicago.
Hmm.
Um,
I
and
don't know the answer to that one. That's a good
that
one.
was the record company that produced a lot of the blues and music that came out of that era. Even some jazz, I think, in there. And
Oh, cool.
oh yeah,
Cool.
very
So
cool.
this room, again, you walk in there and you can go straight, you can go left, you can go right.
Ooh,
There, every wall that's in here has some kind of picture or some kind of text in it. I think within all of these rooms or these galleries, you could easily spend plenty of time
oh
just
my
looking at the
gosh, yeah.
photos, reading the different text. We have some more people in these photos kind of pointing and looking at different things that they're looking up on the walls. Again, social distancing, but no masks.
Uh huh. Isn't
So
it
we're
amazing
going,
how we notice that like right away? Like, oh, you're too close. No.
well, we've been living this life for what, the last
Yeah,
almost a
it's
year.
been
So
almost a
yeah.
year. Yeah.
So finally, we are to the third photo in this gallery. This gallery, I can see two walls. I can tell that there are three walls in here, but I can only see two walls. In this gallery, I can see that this carpet or this flooring does have carpet. Now, the colors that we have in this gallery, we have blue and orange.
Oh,
So
interesting.
different color scheme in here. We don't have any of that plywood. We don't have any of the metal in here. The wall is just full of pictures. So we have some black and white pictures. We have some pictures that they're not exactly color, but you could tell that they're like brown and white,
Oh,
if you will.
sepia. Mm-hmm.
There you go. So we have some photos of people playing different instruments. I can see a gentleman playing a guitar. There's another, that same photo that we saw earlier of the gentleman sitting down playing the violin. There's quite a few pictures of different gentlemen playing different guitars. Everybody, though, was wearing suits and ties.
Ah.
And I've noticed so far that in this gallery, it looks like all these photos are of men. I don't see any women
Hmm.
in these photos. So I think this may be
Ah.
just the men. There is a photo of some kind of structure. And on that structure, there's words that say Dockery Farms, established, I believe it's 1895 by Will Dockery, 1865 to 1926, I believe. Joe Rice Doc Dockery, Dockery. I believe that's what the building says. And then again, in this room, you have the blue that has, so when you have the color on the wall, so the blue and the orange, there's no photos where those are.
Oh.
It's just text. There's
Okay.
one part in the back left corner that is orange, but you can see that there are photos of different types of banjos. They're not in
Oh.
the same shape of as a guitar. They're a little more circular in shape,
Mm-hmm. Ah,
but you do have
mandolins.
pictures of those.
Yeah, I'm betting they're mandolins. I'm
They probably
just
I just
betting.
refer to everything as banjos and guitars because
Yeah.
obviously I don't know that much.
It's like halfway between sort of like well, the one type of mandolin is called a potato bug mandolin because it looks like a potato bug.
Okay, you know what? I
It's
have heard of
really
that one
yep.
before.
Yep.
I have heard that one. Now, in this room, I'm not seeing any lights, so I'm not sure what the lights look like in here, but this, I wouldn't say it's a narrow room, but it's definitely a smaller room than the rooms that we saw before, at least the angle of the camera, I can see that. And then finally, the last photo in this gallery, we are going back to the um, wood walls with the metal walls. You have some old barnwood on the floor mixed with a little bit of carpet. So it kind of looks like one's laying on top of the other, which is laying on top of the other, which is
Ah.
laying on top of the other. So it kind of gives it a real
Mm-hmm.
cool textural feel.
Excellent.
And then what I notice in this particular gallery, we have a picture that says oppression. And in this picture, you have different people out on the fields, and it looks like this is another cotton field because you could see one gentleman that's standing in front of a rather huge basket that is full of cotton. And you
Ah.
can see that there's people walking towards the basket to drop off their load and then go back into the field to wherever they were working.
Mm-hmm.
We have another photo of a gentleman that's wearing glasses. I think this is the same gentleman from before that was playing that harmonica because you could see the
Oh.
harmonica. There's another quote, but I'm not able to read that quote just because the photo is black and white and the lettering is in white. So it's a little hard to
Ah.
read and it's a little further away from the camera.
Mm-hmm.
We have another photo that says, "What are the blues?" And this is the same photo that we saw earlier. So it was that lady that was in
Ah.
that black dress that kind of had her arm
Mm-hmm.
out to the left, and the gentleman that was wearing the skinny bow tie that was smiling but no
Ah.
teeth. Same
Mm-hmm.
photo.
Ah.
Now, one thing that's really neat about this particular gallery is they have the frames or the pictures framed, but they're not like an exquisite frame. It's just
Mm-hmm.
a piece of wood, um, like a piece of plywood framing each of the
Mm-hmm.
photos. So very, very modest in this aspect.
Yeah, again, pretty austere
Yep. And
in
you have people and, people in this picture as well, kind of um, I really hope it looks like a lady's taking a photo. I don't know if you're actually supposed to do that, but it looks like she's taking a photo with her phone.
mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that's not what she's doing, but it looks like it.
It might be. Hmm. Maybe she's
But
using Ira.
maybe she is using Ira, and that may be a possibility. She is wearing sunglasses and she's inside. So maybe she's
That would
calling
be
Ira and we're
awesome,
trying to
wouldn't
assist her with that.
it?
Now, another thing that's kind of cool about this particular gallery is when I'm looking up, I'm not seeing any lights, but I do see that they have that metal tin roof on the
Ah.
ceiling that's outlined in that
Mm-hmm.
same wood that's outlining the pictures that are on the walls.
Ah. Okay.
So that's cool. And that is the last photo in this gallery. So let's see what the next gallery is. Okay, we have three more galleries. Let's see if
All
we
right.
probably won't get through those. We'll see.
We
The
may not,
next
but
one
we'll see what they
is
are here.
the next gallery is A Love Supreme, Harlem Renaissance, and the Emergence of Jazz.
Oh, yeah. This is my absolute favorite. So let's see what we have in here.
Okay, so it starts off with A Love Supreme. The Love Supreme Gallery begins with the survival of African indigenous music traditions in Congo Square in New Orleans and explores their influence on a new form of music emerging from the city in the 1900s that became known as jazz, a hybrid of spiritual, ragtime, blues, ministry, jazz, eventually migrates with its musicians to urban centers in the north, and the music becomes a national phenomenon. Museum visitors can explore the transformation of jazz into various musical styles, including Dixieland, swoop, bebop, cool and hard bop, fusion, etc., as well as others, as well as discover those legendary jazz musicians who have contributed to the evolution of jazz's artistic growth throughout the years and into the modern 21st century.
Oh, yeah.
We have three photos in here. So I'm starting with the first photo, A Love Supreme,
Mm-hmm.
Harlem Renaissance, and the Emergence of Jazz. So one thing that I notice in here, they do have the tables, but these tables are a little different. So normally we're used to like a table having four legs, or maybe it's a solid
Mm-hmm.
wall, solid surface going down. These tables look like they only have one solid surface. So there's only one side of the leg on them. And those
Uh-huh.
legs are actually made out of plywood that is like you're looking at the side of an old building or an old house is built out of wood. So you can see that wood. And then on the top of those tables, you can see that there are different photos. Because of the angle of the photo, I'm not able to see what exactly is on top of those, what the photos are. But these walls, of course, they have some very tall walls. Each wall has a panel of pictures. So you have one panel that says, I think that music began as an expression of the human heart or the human being itself, does express what is happiness, the whole of human experience. And then the photo that's behind that quote, you can see a gentleman playing, it looks like a brass instrument, maybe the photo's not real. You can't really see it too well just because of the angle of the photo, but you can see that he's playing an instrument on stage. The next panel going towards the right, we have a black and white photo of a gentleman sitting at a piano playing. And we have another photo just to the right of that. And it looks like it's two photos in one. So there's a word that says Mintoned, and it's kind of on one photo and then blending into the second photo. The first photo, there's another gentleman. Looks like he's playing an instrument, and he's kind of playing the instrument as he's facing down, like bending down towards the ground. You can tell that he's really getting
Ah.
into the music that he's playing. His
Mm-hmm.
eyes are closed, and you can just tell just from his facial expression that he is in the moment. He can feel it. You could see it in the photo. The next photo that's kind of interlaying with this photo where it has Minton's on the top of it, there's another photo of this. Looks like a different gentleman playing another instrument. This instrument looks like it may be a tuba of some sort. This gentleman, you could tell that he's playing the tuba, but he doesn't have as much emotion and feeling on his face as the previous photo did. So you could see that maybe this is more of a calm or relaxing sound that he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
You have some, you have a blue wall. It looks like there's some text back there. I'm not able to read that. That's a little too far away. But we have another photo, and it looks like this is a man and a woman. The man is dressed up, the woman's wearing a dress. You could tell that they are on a dance floor and they are dancing together. So they're holding hands, and you can tell that they're outstretched from each other, but they are having a good time. They're dancing. The
Okay.
man's legs are kind of bent a little bit. I'm curious to hear I want to know what they are listening
Mm-hmm.
to because I want to dance.
Yes. Yes.
Let's see. We have
And
some
then,
more photos of, oh, we have a couple of women up here on stage. Each
okay.
single woman is standing on stage and they have microphones in front of them. Some are a little bit further away. Some pictures are a little bit closer. You could tell that one lady is in front of a microphone and it looks like she's singing. And her eyes are closed. You can tell that she has a little bit of feeling and emotion on her face. Um, you could just see the emotion on her face. Her eyes are closed. She has her hands kind of up to her side in front of her chest. And then we have some more smaller photos. And these are photos of, it looks like people that are playing instruments, but I'm not able to tell what kind of instruments just because we have some more photos overlaying that. We
Ah.
have another photo of a gentleman. It looks like his name is Duke Ellington.
Oh, yes.
And there's something about him. It looks like there's text maybe kind of describing what's going on or what was significant about this picture, but I'm not able to read
Mm-hmm.
about Duke Ellington, at least not in this photo.
Mm-hmm. I'm surprised we don't have a picture of Louis Armstrong here, and I bet we do somewhere in this gallery. I'm sure there is a picture of Louis Armstrong somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I would bet, because, well, Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, Sarah Vaughan, all of these folks are just so central to the whole jazz age kind of um, that whole era.
Right.
Big
Right.
band. I
It,
love that kind of music.
that's fun music. You just want to get up and dance. You
Oh
can't
my
listen to it
gosh,
and not
yes.
dance.
Yes.
So I'm just pulling up the second photo now. The second photo is just another, it looks like this is another angle of the same room that we were just in. Now, what's kind of cool about this is you have some pretty thin walls. It looks like the walls are maybe, I would say maybe 6 to 8 inches in depth. And you have a photo on one side. So this particular photo that I'm looking at, you have Louis Armstrong. It's a photo of him
Yeah.
playing his instrument.
Yep.
Then another wall, we have Duke Ellington, we have Billie Holiday.
Ah, yes.
Um, I believe I'm not able to see the rest of the names just because we have some people standing in front of those photos. But on the other side of those walls, it looks like there's going to be some more tables that you could look at different photos or different text as well. But what's really cool about this room is they have some, and they're not, they look like banners. And on the banners that are hanging from the ceiling, the banner itself is completely black. And then in gray lettering, you can see that one banner says free jazz, bebop. Another one says new stride piano.
Oh.
You have one that says boogie woogie swing. And the next one, it's
Yeah.
really close to us, but I'm not able to read exactly what it says. I think it's ragtime brass
Mm-hmm.
bass.
Oh, nice.
But everywhere that you go in this room, you have large photos, you have quite a few small photos. So these would be wonderful photos to go and see in person and be able to describe those a little bit better. Just you would
Mm-hmm.
be able to see them. But you have a lot of smaller photos of individual people. You can see that there's some of groups of people standing around, maybe playing instruments. But my favorites, and I love it. I love seeing the photos of the people either singing and you can see the emotion on their face
Yes. Yep.
or the photos of people dancing and you could tell that they're having a good time because when you're having
Mm-hmm.
a good time you just want to get out there and dance and just
Oh, yeah. And this
shake
is
your body.
such, oh my gosh. I mean, I just, all these types of music I love, but I'm just the Dixieland, because I played in a Dixieland band. I played percussion in a Dixieland band, and it is so much fun. Oh my
Oh,
gosh. It's
that does sound like
just
fun.
fun, and it's very showy, and lots of kind of gymnastics with your instrument kinds of things, and
Yeah, yep.
just intricate music and a lot of fun. And
So one thing that I do notice in this photo that we're still on, we still have some of that orange color, the blue, the purple, and we have some teal. However, those are not um, just part of the wall that's just that color. In this particular room, you have some that have pictures on them, you have some that have text. Now it looks like the
ah,
teal picture or the teal part of the wall has some pictures and some text on it. That's a little too close to us. So I'm not able to read exactly what that says just because one of the banners hanging from the ceiling is blocking that view partially. Um, but some of the orange wall in the back, you can see one part of the wall has some text and the other part of the wall has some black and white photos that's kind of overlaying on the that colored wall, which is really cool. But the banners that are hanging from the ceiling, I bet they probably have words on each side. And the
mm-hmm.
tables that are in here, you still have that wood that has one leg. And then you have the table on top that still has some more pictures that you can look at. It looks like those tops are going to be like touch screens. So you can zoom in on the
Ah,
pictures, zoom out, and then zoom in on the text or maybe flip through the text to see what else is on there.
I
Very
wondered if they'd
cool.
give you like a headset, or if they would have like a headset so you could
I'm
hear.
curious to
Oh.
know that answer too, just
Mm-hmm.
because the people in the photos, I don't see anybody with any headsets, but it
So,
is possible that you could probably rent those out.
yep, all you folks who've been to this museum, tell us.
Yes, let us
Tell
know. We
us
need
whether you can
answers.
hear all of this amazing music. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to the last photo in this gallery. This photo, it's kind of that horseshoe shape-esque shape of a
Ah.
room as well.
Mm-hmm.
First thing I notice on the ground, we have some light colored wood. Nothing real fancy about it. Looks like type of wood that you would see on a dance floor, like an old
Ah.
school dance floor. It's well worn.
Yep.
It's had a lot of love on it. And then on the wall, you can see that the wall has almost like this. It looks like a thick yellow with black curtain. And then in front of those curtains, you have some paneling. The paneling is black. And then on that paneling, you have pictures. And it's one long picture. So it looks like it's a scene. You have, starting from the left, you have a gentleman playing an instrument. The gentleman to the right of him looks like he may be playing an instrument, but he's kind of bent down at the hips, going towards the ground. Then you have another photo of another gentleman playing an instrument in the background. There's a photo of a lady, and it looks like she may be playing the piano.
Oh.
You have a photo. Oh, there's a photo of a gentleman, but his head's cut off, so you can't see his head.
Oh no.
But you could tell that he's playing another instrument. And then there's somebody else further in the background that is playing another instrument. You can see his head. His head was not cut off.
This sounds like maybe a big band. Wow.
It looks like it may be a big band because it does look like they are all in the same photo and they just kind of cut
That's
it up.
cool.
And so as you're looking at the photos are kind of going up towards, so you're starting down from the bottom towards the ground and then
Mm-hmm.
moving up towards the ceiling. So that very first photo on the left is closer to the ground, but that very
Oh.
last photo on the right is going to be closest to the ceiling. So that's kind of cool too to
Oh.
look at. Then you're going to have a little half wall on the right hand side. And all I can see is that it says a love supreme. And it looks like there's some more text that's a little bit smaller that you'd be able to read. And you have some photos. It looks like there's a photo of a colored photo of a gentleman playing an instrument. There's a black and white photo of a lady singing on stage. You can see the microphone in front of her. Her hair's done up real nice and pretty. And it looks like she has um, it looks like a headband with some huge flowers on it, and the flowers are only on the right hand side of her head. And then you have another photo of another gentleman. It's a black and white photo of playing another instrument. And then, of course, in this photo, you could see families and different people pointing at the pictures, admiring the pictures, and seeing what's going on in this room. This is a smaller room.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
This is an
so
amazing
that
museum. Like,
Nice.
I just
This
gotta.
I mean,
it's
we're not
oh
even done. We're not
man.
even done with the
I was gonna
galleries.
say, and we're not gonna get done with the galleries today, unfortunately, because our time is up. But I have good news for everybody. If you are wanting to look at the rest of this museum, you can do that through the weekend because we still have our Triple AM offer for Black History Month through the 28th of February. And I'm not sure if this is one of the museums officially in the offer or not, but we're going to say, for purposes of whatever, that it will be. So if you want to explore the let me get it right, the name, the National Museum of African American Music. If you want to explore that museum this weekend, and I would highly recommend it because you can see kind of the journey that we've been on and just the amazing, I love the way that they have really given a feeling to these rooms in this museum. Just getting the description of, as you move through here, all of the people and the way that they've set the colors and the styles of the rooms and everything to really give you the feeling of the music. So pretty cool. But you have through the 28th to take advantage of that offer, and you will find that in the promotions section of the IRA app. If you go in and click on uh, apply a free offer on the home screen, and then you will find that under promotions. So thank you so much, Andrea. This has been a totally fun adventure as we end
It has
Black
been a
History
blast.
Month. Thank you so much. And Ryan, thanks for keeping us on the air today. And our next museum visit, I get to reach for my amazing Braille calendar. Woo! Our next museum visit, we're going to take next week off. But the week after that, just wait because, ta da, there's the Braille calendar, everybody. And on March the 12th, we are going to visit the San Diego Zoo and Safari Park. Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Janine gets to play Joan Embry. I always wanted to be Joan Embry when I was growing up because I love like how she used to show off the animals on the Tonight Show, and yeah, yeah. So we will be visiting the San Diego Zoo and Safari Park. So get your animal requests ready. If there's an animal you want to see, we will try to find it there for you, and look at them. And maybe they'll even have live cams. How fun would that be? Oh my
That would be
gosh.
fun.
Yes. And thank you to everybody, by the way, who is visiting the Shed Aquarium and taking advantage of the Shed Aquarium uh, access offer, and saying hello to Cruz the sea lion, our buddy, the Cruz the blind sea lion. And we're going to make him the official Ira mascot one of these days. So awesome. Well, everyone, have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week next week as we take the week off. And we will see you again on March 12th for Afternoon at the Museum.